Boom, boom, Mrs. Kenrier. Welcome back to the channel. All right, so we got Crossing Void on tap today. So I've been working through the levels, got everything where I needed to, got everybody up to 5 star. Um, Miyuki, Zero, Asuna, Tuma, Kirito, and Makoto. Also managed to get if you complete the pinnacle, first level on the pinnacle, I think it's like 15 floors or something like that. You get a full S rank set, which is what allowed me to complete the set here that I've got on Mashiro. So it's I think yeah. So yeah, they got her up to 64. So she's in good shape. So I managed to get that. I've reapplied my sets. Um, Damage sets on mostly everybody. That's what my focus is. Um, Got the Dakota set, of course, on Makoto as it's a bleed, increased bleed damage set. That's also good for Shauna. If you got Shauna as your character, you can put it on her. And I've pretty much just got damage. I got a damage reduction set on Zero to help out with keeping Miyuki alive. I might end up moving that set over to Kurito to keep Makoto alive. No, I'm sorry, Tuma to keep Makoto alive because she's the one who dies first usually. That's a problem I had when I had her on center. My original set lineup was I had Asuna in the front, that I had Makoto in the center, and I had Miyuki in the back to protect her because she was my most dealing pretty much the most damage with Inferno. But I ended up switching that because Miyuki does not really die hardly ever. Neither does Asuna. I mean, really, none of them are dying at this point. But in some of the higher levels on certain things in the and the treasure hunt, Makoto would get dangerously low in terms of hit points. So I moved her to the back, and that seemed to have taken care of that. So this is my current setup. Like I say, everybody's set for the main part. Couple things to focus on now that you've got 5 stars on everybody. The story, you're going to have to get to end of 9, 10 to start getting the mats that you need for your 6 stars. So um, the hit points are going to start ramping up incredibly high. You can't see what they are, but my assumption is when you get to level 10, you're probably going to be somewhere between 30 and 35,000. I mean, right now, on 815, I don't think we're going to get to see it. I'll go ahead and run it real quick. I'll be able to use the mats for something. But this is 816 right here. This is one of the levels that you run to get the purple mats that you need to increase your to get your 5 stars. See, we're already at 23,000 hit points. Um, expect that to probably be between 30 and 35,000 by the time you get to 10. Also notice that they're starting to do a lot of buffs. So you need to bring somebody who can dispel. I have 2 dispellers. I have Tuma, um, who can dispel, and he's a single dispeller. He can only dispel on one target. Does excellent damage when he does the dispel too, actually. And then I have Miyuki, who can do an entire dispel, which is for the whole team. And you need to start focusing on that because in this case right here, that middle character right there, she's a she does she's a buffer. She applies this buff right here. It's a damage reduction buff, and she'll stack it. I've seen it stack. I've seen it stack into Pinnacle up 2 times. I've seen her apply this double, and it's damage reduction 50. So she can literally do a 100% reduction. I mean, that completely negates your system. I mean, Miyuki's skill, um, on average, Miyuki does about, I'm running it on memory mode right now, so I don't have to worry about it. But because I had to manually do this the first time because she kept Makoto. This is the last level that I've done. I haven't moved up any farther. Just before I had everybody in 5 stars. This is when I was trying to get the first time I did that. Miyuki was getting dangerously. Not Miyuki. Makoto was getting dangerously low on health. and they weren't dying. And they weren't dying because she was throwing down 100% reduction, um, and my 25,000 damage, and both Asuna and Miyuki doing was doing like 4,000 or 5,000. So I had to focus on doing a little bit of dispelling and stuff. So I had to manually do it, and then I got it in memory mode, and that's the one I got. So as you can see now, it didn't hurt me at all. Very little reduction because she doesn't do much damage. She's just applying buffs. Her job is to, the way you lose this level is you don't do it in the turns required. That's the problem on this level. They have the same thing in the Pinnacle. There's levels on the Pinnacle where if you don't dispel buffs on your enemy, you won't be able to beat them in time to win the level. So you got to keep an eye on that. It's making the game extremely interesting. Um, so yeah, definitely take a look at that because there's a lot of them around. So you want to focus on, focus on that. You definitely want to have some dispels. I've got Miyuki and Toma. You should have two. I guess you can get by with one if you got Miyuki because she can do an entire area. She'll do all three. Toma does one. I keep him in there. I like him because he does a bunch of damage when he does it on that dispel. Um, so you also want to start focusing, yeah, as I mentioned before, the Pinnacle. The good thing about the Pinnacle is if you run the Pinnacle at the end of the first floor, as someone in the comments mentioned, you can get a full S rank set for that. So you want to complete the Pinnacle definitely through the first level. It has, yeah, it's 15 floors. I'm on the second level, 13th floor, the second level. But as you complete this, you get a little bit of Mago from completing it actually in, but it's what it does is really in the missions as your rewards for completing the Pinnacle, you get a lot of Mago. I got a bunch of Mago now, which has allowed me to purchase a lot of stamina, which has allowed me to level up. I'm already at 51 and moving into 52 territory. I'm probably about halfway there on to 52. And I've got a lot of Mago built up. So definitely run that as far as through as you can. If you haven't already ran it, because if you have, you should be able to get there. I ran through. I'm all the way up to the 13th floor on the second level, and I just run that through. I got the set. That's a set I put on Mashiro. So you want to focus on that. Another thing you want to focus on is your impression weapons. You want to start running the Pandemonium to get stuff for your impression weapons. You also want to run the breaking events. The breaking event also has an impression weapon event that you should run, which gives you a bunch of materials for your impression weapon to level it up. It's definitely something you want to focus on. Try to get one on each character if you can. I haven't focused on that too much. I've been focusing on getting everybody up to 5-star. Now that I've done that, I'm going to start branching out and looking at other avenues. Also, go into your skills. You have to go back. The skills stop taking coin after I think it's like 10. And you got to start throwing in mats with the coins. So just type on the type of mat that you need and click source, and it'll tell you where it's at, and go farm them from there. You have to farm quite a few. I farmed the second level. I'm now having to farm the mats that I used to level up my character to 5-star. Start farming those to put those on my mats or put those on my skills to increase the level. So after you've used those mats for your stars, you're going to have to use them again for your skills. So just beware of that. So it's all right to go over if you're running it just to get your stars up. You'll use them eventually. And I don't think you're going to be able to complete the story mode unless you've got your skills pretty close to max. I think the hit points, end game hit points, how many, won't let us go any farther. Won't let us see how many we've got. But I got a feeling you're probably going to be it would not surprise me if it's close to 50,000 by the time the game ends. And if you get 50,000 hit points, and if you got members on that enemy team that's applying, you know, buffs and onto them, you're just not going to be able to nuke them down as fast enough, before either you start dropping or you run out of time and turns. So, you just have to focus on what you can. But for right now, damage is serving me well. I've got a few damage reduction sets on. I might move them around as time goes on. I might even farm one just to keep it in reserve in case I need it on a special level. I don't expect any problem at 9 and 10. Um, End of 9, you start getting the first mats for your 6-star, and in the middle of 10, you get the rest. I'll probably be able to do that. I don't think I'll need to change anything at then. I'll post another video tomorrow as we do some story modes just so that everyone see what they look like, but I don't think there'll be a problem. I'm going to go ahead and uh, see what I can, see what we can do in terms of picking out in a set, and I might run some treasure. But I'll start running the story tomorrow. We'll progress through 8 and start into 9. Um, and it only takes 6 energy to run it the first time, so I'll be able to blast through pretty fast. We should be able to get through. I'll try to go all through 9 and into 10 if we have time. So if you want to do that, I'll do that tomorrow, and I'll pop the video on that up tomorrow, and we'll go from there. But yeah, you definitely want to look at that. Remember to keep an eye. You definitely want to focus on a character. If you don't got a character um, that's doing dispel, you need to have 1 or 2. Um, like I say, Miyuki for me does it. The entire team, enemy team, she does dispel, but it's an area dispel. But Tuma does 1, and that seems to be enough. It's enabled me in a couple of times where I've had to manually take over. They've been able to dispel the debuffs. But yeah, there's some characters out there, some serious characters that apply a lot of debuffs, a lot of buffs on their teams. So you got to keep an eye on that. And I assume it's only going to get worse as the game progresses, which is what makes it interesting. It would not be fun if you had to if you can auto the whole story. Your first time through. I mean, maybe second time through after everything's maxed out. But having to take control is good. It makes the game interesting, and it helps break up the repetitiveness. So if you find yourself, and you've got pretty much what I've got right here, and you're finding that you're in 7, and you're losing, you're not able to be level. You just need to manual it. Most likely the enemies got a huge buffer on their team, and they're applying buffs, and those buffs are reduction your damage. Like I showed on that one character, she stacks that cheer, and it does 50%, so that's 100% reduction damage. Even a massive climax skill that's going to reduce it by 100%. It's almost completely nulling it. You're looking at, I think when it hit, it normally Miyuki's Inferno hits with normally between 26 and 30,000. With that double chair, it was doing like 8. So, and when you got that, when they're running up with 33,000 hit points, you're either going to people are going to start dying on your side because you're not doing enough damage to burn them down, or you're going to you're going to run out of turns, and you're not going to be able to get the stars that you need. If you don't do it the amount of turns in Pinnacle, you lose the level. So beware of that. If you run the Pinnacle, there's going to be several floors where you're going to have to take over and dispel debuffs. I think that's actually the floor I'm on right now. Let's check that real quick. I'm pretty sure it's a buff dispel stage. It is a 13th floor. Party can there. Yep, that's her. Yep, this is her. Be sure to yeah. This is her, the center one, not Helmet Girl from Durara, but that little munchkin right there that says danger. She's definitely danger. That's Eiko. She's Purify. She'll heal debuffs that you put on the team. Okay, and then this little one here in the center, she puts it's called cheer, I believe it's what it's called. And when she applies that cheer, it's 50% reduction, and it stacks. I've seen 2 stacks of that on there. And then Miyuki has got damage. So this is a perfect team right here. You've got a purifier, buffer, damage. Perfect team. Okay? Which is why I lost this level on auto. It's because she was stacking out that cheer. I was running it on auto at the time because I really wasn't paying attention. I was doing something else when that was running. I came back and I lost it, and I'm like, what? So, yeah, and that's what it was. And I ran through it again, watching it, and she was, yeah, it was 100% debuff. It's a nightmare. Yeah, so that's the debuff stage. So you got to keep an eye on that. Um, uh, that's uh, that's going to increase as it goes through. Always run your golden storm, of course, because you get the money. You need gold. Uh, Uncharted Void is always nice to run. I haven't had a chance to do that. I got to run through a lot of this stuff. I've got a lot of tickets. If you don't use the tickets, some of you don't lose it on some of them, so you can save it for later. Definitely run the breaking event. Check and make sure that they run an impression weapon. That's the pinnacle. Um, Breaking event. Always, if they got the impression weapon up, you want to run it. It's not up right now, but it'll say impression weapon. You get a bunch of impression weapon upgrade mats on that, so you definitely want to do that, as well as you of course get them in Pandemonium for your impression weapons. So you definitely want to run that as well. Focus on those two. Um, you can do PvP. Uh, I've been finding PvP to be interesting. Um, it's doable. Always send it. I send out my Void expeditions every evening when I log off for the game the last time, and then pick them up in the morning. If you got the hourglasses, you can do them immediately, but I'm saving them for when maybe they start throwing out some really nice expeditions that you want to get the rewards on as quick as possible. Treasure hunt, of course, for character. You might want to get an extra set or two. If you got a heavy defense sets, and damage reduction sets, you might want to look for an attack set. You run treasure hunt, you get the tickets for the S rank armor in the shop. I got both types of sets in there. They lean more towards the attack sets in there. If you've got Shana or Makoto, of course, use the Gakoda set because it's a bleed, increases bleed damage immensely, so that's good. And just focus on that stuff. It's getting to the point where you have to start thinking about, just actually strategizing. It's getting. I got a feeling we're going to see that tomorrow when we run the levels. I haven't, it's locked in point, so you can't see what they are until you get to it. So you can't plan ahead. You just got to. I'm thinking we're going to see high level XP, a damage, buffer, and a healer. As there is probably going to be the teams they're going to start throwing at you. You're not going to see it constantly, of course, but you will see it on some levels. So we'll take a look. We'll run through tomorrow. Try to get at least through 9, and we'll just see how we fare. I've got a heavy damage team with the capability to spell. So I'm not expecting to be a problem. 9 and 10. I think we'll go through okay, but we'll see. We'll run it tomorrow, and I'll post a video on it, and we'll see how it goes. All right, so that's everything I got for today. So Crossing Void, moving on. 5 stars, all done, and we'll move through the story level. So this is Kenrir. Thanks a lot for watching. Click a like on the video if you like it, and don't forget to click on the subscription if you want to get emails every time I drop a video. Try to drop a video on something daily. So this is Kenrir, signing out.